What is up? I am Jack. We are Sim Racing, and today I've got something a little different and a little special for us. I want to talk about games that you can play right now, sim racing titles that are free 99. They are absolutely 100% free. Um, these will be great for people who are looking to dive into sim racing for the first time and you have never tried it out and you don't want to financially spend a lot on the front end. Maybe you've heard about games like iRacing with really expensive subscription models and things like that, where people are spending thousands of dollars to play the title. Well, we're going to go to the exact opposite end of that, and we're going to go to games that are 100% free to play. Now, there are some other sim racing titles, Assetto Corsa 1, for example, that are really, really cheap. GTR 2, AMS 1, some games that you can get on sale for less than $10. But today's video focuses on 100% free. Now, sim racing hardware can also be expensive, and your mileage may vary. If you get some sim racing hardware used, you can save a lot of money that way. For example, wheels, pedals on the used market. And then my PC, I mean, a little hack out there for people trying to build a PC and they don't want to spend a lot of money is buy an old workstation computer for like less than $100 and throw a graphics card in there. I have an old Z420 with a really strong CPU, and I put a graphics card in there and I run every sim racing title, new or old, with no problem at all. So there are ways to get your hardware for not quite as much money, but today's video focuses specifically on software, on games. Yeah, we're going to have a variety of different titles. We're going to have rally racing, we're going to have circuit racing as well, and games that you can actually get a pretty decent experience for free. A lot of titles have demo modes, like Automobilista 2, I think, has a demo mode where you can drive around a Volkswagen GTI. But these games are actually a little more fleshed out than that for free. And so really cool experiences and good variety here, hopefully. If you've been liking watching some of my videos, or if this interests you, go back and watch the single player tournament that I did, where I tried to find the best single player racing experience in sim racing, because we have a game in there that's a diamond in the rough, a game that also will not cost you very much money. That is such a joy to play. But that game does cost a little bit of money, so I think it costs like $2 or $3. So it's not going to be on this list. These are 100% free sim racing games. If you've been enjoying my content, I would really, really appreciate if you subscribed, liked the video. It means a lot, and it lets me know that people are enjoying it. So yeah. Oh, one more thing I want to add. There are there are games that are delisted. For example, um, Dirt Rally 1, the Project Cars series. There are games that are delisted that if you go online, you can find ways to download it for free and play it. Now, I cannot say that I am 100% recommending that because that is technically piracy. That is technically not allowed. That is not something that I can advocate for. But I do know that people will go out. People can find some delisted games online if you do enough searching and can play some sim racing titles that way. When you do that, typically there's things like online service that won't really work, or there's things like I don't know. There's just some things that can be kind of glitchy about the games, so just be aware of that as well. But these games that we're focusing on in this video are not necessarily delisted games. They are not games that are wrong for you to be playing. I'll put it that way. All right, let's dive into it. Um, Free sim racing games. Let's get it. All right, first on our list, we have an old one, an oldie but a goodie. We've got Live for Speed. Now, Live for Speed came out first in 2002, and it is actually continually being updated to this day. I think there's a little bit of a misconception about Live for Speed, that it's abandonware, like another sim racing title that's going to be later on this list. It is not abandonware. It is still being worked on, developed. You can download it online for free, and when you do download it online for free, you get access to only one track, this track that we're driving here, and 3 cars. We get this little hatchback right here. We get kind of a small 2-door sports car, kind of gives mid-90s like 240SX vibes, and then we get a BMW Formula small single-seater car. So those are your 3 cars, and then you get this one track. So of everything on this list today, with Live for Speed, you're getting the least amount of content. But I'm still adding it to this list because it does bring a lot to the table. Like I said, it's continually being updated. The most recent update, the most recent additions and updates to Live for Speed came out in July of 2024. So this is not, like I said, not an abandoned game. The physics of the game feel really good to me. I have not spent a lot of time in Live for Speed. I pretty much just loaded it up and spent 30 minutes or so doing short little races like this. It felt very natural. This is a front-wheel drive small little hatchback, and the way that it moved under braking, the way that the back end wanted to kick out with some lift-off oversteer and things like that, it just all felt very, very natural. I do think in the force feedback you don't really feel much over the curbs. There's some small, noticings that I had like that, but nothing major. I mean, it felt like a simulator. It felt like a modern, really good simulator. The gearbox simulation was very good as I was driving with the H pattern shifter. So overall, just really, really good first impressions of driving Live for Speed. So like I said, the free version of Live for Speed is going to be giving us the least amount of content of anything on this list, but the driving itself is great. There's also Valtteri Bottas is well known for having played a lot of Live for Speed, playing it online. So that gives it a little bit of credibility, as some real life drivers really enjoy Live for Speed. And I will say too, I was a little surprised by the graphics. The cars themselves look not the best. They look very boxy and cubey and very not high detailed, but the track I thought had pretty good detail and good texture to it, and obviously it'll run on a low spec computer as well. But overall, really great impressions. It is important that I also note that Live for Speed, you do have to pay to get a little more content. So they call it an S1, S2, and S3 subscription. They're not super expensive, but to get more cars and to get more tracks, you do have to pay. There also is some mods that you can download. I did not dive into that, but something to be aware of as well, that you can expand this game with some modding. But most of those modding, unlike some other sims, the modding is done within the game itself. So you do actually download the mods on the game page, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me on that, but I believe that modding is handled within the game itself. The AI I thought raced well. Not going to say perfect, but for little hatchbacks with some, door-to-door trading of paint, I thought the cars did well. Yeah, overall, really, really solid first impressions. And a game that I'm very tempted to pay the next level of and just see what the game brings. So it ran really, really smooth on my computer, obviously. as an old title, and just the driving experience. I don't really know how to put this into words, but it just feels really, really satisfying. So there we go, across the line, and we finish P1. Look at that. All right, the next game, it's going to be really interesting. Let's get it.
Pass on the last lap.
Alright, next on our list, we've got a real interesting one. Some of you with a keen eye might be noticing this looks a lot like one of my favorite sims, AMS1. But it's not AMS1. So this is actually Copa Petrobras Marcas. Terrible pronunciation there. Copa Petrobras G Marcas. I don't know, that's terrible. But this is, yeah, so this is a free to play, 100% free on Steam. You can download it. I should have mentioned Live for Speed. You download actually from Live for Speed's website, not from Steam, but I'll put that link in there. This one is straight from the Steam page, free to play. This is an early rendition of AMS1, basically. So this was made by Riza in 2014. AMS1, Automobilista 1, for those that don't know, was released in 2016, and then was continued to develop for years and years and years after that. So this game, I'm just going to call it Copa from now on. This game, Copa G Marcas, this game had front-wheel drive touring cars. This car right here, which was based off of a Brazilian series by the same name of the game, Brazilian racing series, developed by Riza, the people who do AMS1 and AMS2. So when I played this game, when I downloaded this game and played it, it felt, as I don't realize we're doing the chicane there.
Did not know we were doing the chicane layout.
So I know this sounds really simplistic, but this game felt just like an early rendition of Automobilista 1. So Automobilista 1, for those new to sim racing, came out in 2016, and it has really, really, really good physics. It drives really well, and it's, in my opinion, one of, if not the most underrated games in all of sim racing. So this felt just like an early version of that. You get, with this game, you get, I think it was 8 tracks, 7 or 8 tracks, and you only get this series of cars, which we have a Ford Focus, we have a Chevy Cruze, a Mitsubishi Lancer, and we have a Toyota Corolla, all of them front-wheel drive, racing-focused touring cars with sequential shifter. The physics felt really, really good. It did not quite feel as fleshed out and as finished as it does in Automobilista 1, because this exact series and all of these tracks are in Automobilista 1, but it did feel pretty good. I think the heads-up display looks really, really dated. I think the graphics don't look super crisp, super nice, but it does drive overall pretty well. The AI races pretty good as well. I don't think it battles with you quite in the same way that it does in Automobilista 1. It's a little more... The AI in Automobilista 1 will fight you a little more. Here, that's not quite as present, and you can see one of the AI is driving off in the distance there. Another thing to note about this, with this free game, you don't just get single player races like this, you also do get a championship mode, which is going to run you through the 2014 Copa Petrobras G Marcas. I gotta stop saying that. It's gonna drive you through the season. Again, about 8 tracks. Another cool thing is when I was setting up the race, it was allowing me to set up the race all the way to 2.5 hours, I think it was. So you could do a bit of endurance racing. I didn't test out pit stops. I didn't test out how the AI handles pit strategy. My impressions with it being a free game, that again feels like they were just testing stuff out for Automobilista 1. My guess is that the AI is probably not the best at handling pit strategies in endurance racing, but it is there if that interests you. Force feedback feels really, really nice. It feels... I just sound like a broken record. It feels like Automobilista 1 with a little less detail. So, I really enjoy this series. If you've watched my channel for a little while, you'll probably know AMS1 is one of my top sims that I love to drive. I think the driving feel of these cars is a little bit similar to Live for Speed, where it's really, really engaging. When you go into a braking zone, the back end does want to step out. You have to kind of modulate the brakes. You have to be careful about locking up. It is not, it's 100% a simulator. And if you're the type of person who is trying out sim racing for the first time and you don't want to spend a lot of cash, you don't want to buy something that you're not sure if you're going to come back to, I do think this is a really, really great option. Go into the Steam page, just type in Copa Marcas, M-A-R-C-A-S, and it will come up for you. You'll be able to find it, you'll be able to play it, and you'll be able to hop straight in just a couple minutes and get going. Another thing that I also could have mentioned during the Live for Speed portion of the video is setting up my wheel was a bit confusing with Live for Speed. Once I figured that out, I was off to the races and I had no issues, but it did take a while for me to figure out there was like a way you had to select not just wheel but all your other devices as well to get the shifter and everything working. It was just not super intuitive, and the user interface was not very clean. Here the user interface looks very dated and it's very unattractive, but it is simple and easy to get going. Binding your buttons, binding your wheel, your shifter, everything was super, super straightforward. And I will also say, I know this content is a little niche, some random Brazilian touring cars. These cars are great. These tracks are great. Yeah. And it's also fun driving stuff that you're not super familiar with as well, in the age of sim racing where everybody is obsessed with GT3 and things like that. And that brings us across the line. Next up, we're going to the dirt. We're going to some... Now, we have Richard Burns Rally. In my opinion, the absolute GOAT of free sim racing games. It is insane what you are getting for free 99 with this game. So Richard Burns Rally, this was a game that came out in 2004. I think it came out for PlayStation, I guess, as well as PC. Yeah, that's right. PlayStation, Xbox and PC. So Richard Burns Rally became abandonware at some point, and a group of modders just really, really took off with the base game. Worker B is a name that you'll hear come up when talked about Richard Burns Rally and his work on the physics, and taking the physics into the new generation, the next generation. So Richard Burns Rally is, for people diving into sim racing for the first time, I think it's great in one way and it's really, really difficult in another way. It's great in the sense that for free, you are getting so much content, endless amounts of rally stages, endless amounts of cars, and online rallies, and just so much for free. It actually blows my mind a little bit. how much you get for free, and it's got a rally school. The modders have even worked to bring in single player championships into the game. So, and the game is being just constantly worked on by a brilliant and talented group of modders. The reason I say it's not the best racing sim for someone brand new to sim racing is this game is unforgiving. The damage model is very unforgiving. If you crash, it's not going to be like Dirt Rally 2.0. It's not going to be like some of the other rally games where you can hit a tree and kind of keep going. Your rally will be done, and it can be. And a lot of the stages also are really tight, narrow, and difficult stages. So, oh, and one more thing to add also is the pace notes can be a little bit inconsistent, as they are pretty much, made by various modders, and you can do your own recce and make your own pace notes. But there can be times where the pace notes will throw you off because it'll say that you got a 4 left and it's really a 6 left, or vice versa, and yeah, you end up wrapping your car around a tree. So incredibly unforgiving, which I know could be discouraging for someone brand new to sim racing. But if you are willing to put in the work to learn rally and to learn a probably the most challenging discipline in racing, then Richard Burns Rally is the game for you. And I highly recommend starting off with really slow cars and with the most open and wide stages you can, and get used to the game first. Okay, so the cool thing about Richard Burns Rally is if you go to, I'm going to link the website into the description. It's called Rally Sim Fans, I think .hu or something like that. Hungarian group of people who have basically put all the mods into one location, into one simple download file that you can download as a torrent, and it can get you going, like I said, for absolutely free. By signing up on the website, you also have access to online championships. I, every single year, sign up for 2 or 3 online championships. They're really fun because you have a week to complete a rally that usually takes an hour to 2 hours to complete, but you have an entire week to put in your times, and you get to see your times compared against all the hundreds of other people who are also playing Richard Burns Rally. I know you might be hearing that this game's from 2004, and you might, if you're new to sim racing, you might be like, is this game really actually that relevant? I think to this day, outside of EAWRC, this is probably the next most popular rally sim, and for a lot of the really hardcore players, this is the definitive GOAT of rally racing. So physics just feel really natural with all the work that Worker Bee has put into these next gen physics, and yeah, there's also been a variety of real rally drivers who have come out and said that this is the definitive rally sim, the best rally physics, the best rally game period that they use for training and getting ready for rally racing, which is unbelievable considering this game's age. So I couldn't recommend this game anymore. With your free 99 purchase, your absolutely 100% free download, I think you're getting, it's a lot of gigabytes. It's a lot of storage, because you're getting so many kilometers of stages. And you're also getting a lot of classes of cars. You're getting Rally 1 cars through Rally 5 cars, all the way up to the top spec WRC cars from a couple years ago. You don't get the new hybrid ones yet, but you do get the top spec cars from a couple years ago. You get a lot of vintage rally cars, rear wheel drive, front wheel drive. So the cars and the tracks and the stages are absolutely endless. And if you don't know a lot about rally, so just because some people watching this video might be brand new to sim racing, it's different because you don't have other cars on track. It is point to point. It's not around a circuit, as you can see in this video. We have not repeated the same track. So it's point to point, and you're trying to race against the clock, and you're comparing your times against other people's times on those same stages. So different from circuit racing, where you're going door to door, but really fun game here. This is the game that I have spent the absolute most time in on this list of free games. And this is by far the most complete of the free games, because you are getting a 100% full game experience. Nothing like a demo mode. You're getting online championships, everything like that. Also, last thing, as we cross the finish line, it will run on any PC. Yeah, it'll run on a potato. Last one, Raceroom. So Raceroom is another game that's continuing to be updated pretty frequently. Raceroom is physics-wise very good in my opinion. So Raceroom came out, I believe it was, let me fact check myself, I believe it was 2014, which surprisingly is similar to the Copa Marcas game. 2013 actually. So right around the time that AC1 was coming out. The graphics have been continually updated, and towards the end of this past year, there was a really big graphics update and physics update. But Raceroom is a game that came out a while ago, but it's been worked on by the developers, KW Studios, so much, and it was originally by Simbin, I believe, the people who made GTR 2, but it's been worked on so much throughout the years that it constantly feels like a modern racing sim. Oh, as the AI gives us a little kick in the rear end there. So with Raceroom, you may be wondering, the developers are still working on it and it's free. So all the content in the game is not free. There are cars and tracks that you can buy individually. They also come in the form of packs that you can download through their store page, which can be accessed through the game itself. But when you do download the game for free, there's a decent amount of content that does come free. You have these cars right here. Let me pull up the exact amount of cars. You have these cars right here, which not all of these cars are free that are racing on track, but the car I'm driving is free, which is a Lada touring car. But you do get a good amount of free cars. You get yeah, you get 5 tracks. So you get this one right here, which is a track I've been to in real life, actually. You get, so this is Portimao in Portugal. I went there in real life. Beautiful track. Really great racing track that's not in every sim. So this is a cool track to get for free. You get Sepang, I don't know how to pronounce it. You get a hill climb track, Lakeview, which I'm not sure if that's fictional or real. I believe it's fictional. You get Raceroom Raceway, which is fictional. And then you get what they call Stowe Circuit, which is a short version of Silverstone. And Raceroom Raceway has a variety of different layouts. All those tracks actually have a couple different layouts, making the total amount of tracks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but with extra layouts, somewhere around 10 or so tracks that you can drive for free. You also get a Formula Junior car, you get a hill climb car, you get a couple prototypes, you get like a silhouette mid-engine car that's really cool. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 cars for free when you download Raceroom. So 5 tracks, 12 cars for free is actually really, really good. And it's enough to get you started with doing some online races and creating custom championships, maybe creating multi-class races. So the amount of stuff you can do with the free content is actually really, really, really good, and will give you a strong taste in sim racing to decide whether it's something you want to continue to pursue, that you want to continue to do. So you can create custom championships, you can do single races, you can do endurance races up to 6 hours on this game, you can do online races as long as it's a race that is completed with one of the cars that you have, one of the car classes you have, as well as one of the tracks you have. And typically there's at least one race available at all times that uses free content. A lot of times it'll be in the touring car class like we have here. So, Raceroom, 2 ginormous thumbs up, because another thing I gotta mention with Raceroom, and this is one of my maybe hot take opinions, is I strongly believe that these are without a doubt the best front wheel drive touring cars in all of sim racing. I am a fan of front wheel drive touring cars. I think they make for great racing. I think they make for good door-to-door action. I kind of get a little bit bored of the GT3 obsession that we have in sim racing, and these are a fun modern race car that are a little bit different, and they take a different driving style as well to get the car to rotate in certain ways. So I love front wheel drive touring cars, and Raceroom does it better than any other sim. The graphics have come a long way. We don't yet have rain or day-night transition. I think that would be probably the most glaring downfall of Raceroom. But you do have extremely good AI. There's something called adaptive AI as well, where it adapts to your abilities. And look at this finish! Oh, we have classic touring car photo finish. So yeah, with Raceroom we do have adaptive AI, which is really cool for beginners as well, trying to figure out what your AI difficulty should be. So that closes out our video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found these 4 free sim racing games beneficial. I hope you learned something. I hope you download them. And if you're new to sim racing, there's going to be times where sim racing is tough. There's going to be times where you get frustrated that you're not progressing or getting faster and things like that. But stick with it, because sim racing is really fun. You could probably find a really good community of guys to race with, or guys or gals to race with. And yeah, it's worth it. It's fun. These games hopefully will get you started for free. You can also comment below if you have any questions. I'm going to put all the links to these games in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.